Hey, camera for the series premiere of the new Freeform show, Dead of Summer. This is Season 1, Episode 1, Patience, and I was really looking forward to this first episode. I didn't really have much of opinions on it, mainly because I didn't really know what the show was going to be. I didn't watch a lot of the previews and things like that, but I also was kind of worried because it's a summer show, and I really didn't think it was going to be that great. And it's also on Freeform, and I just didn't know if it really was going to work out for them. But overall, I gotta say, I enjoyed the show a lot more than I thought I was going to. There's not a lot to say about this first episode, mainly because it was very much set up, and I think it's going to be way different than the rest of the episodes are, but I thought it was a very good setup episode. Now, there is problems in this show, definitely. It's not a perfect premiere, but I still really enjoy it. I thought it was very well done overall, and there were some really great things about this episode that I definitely really did enjoy, and like I said, I found the show to be a lot better than I thought I did. Now, basically, I'm not going to do like a basic recap of everything that happened because pretty much we'll get into everything that happened, but let's get to the plot of the show first. Basically, this show is about this place called Camp Stillwater, who basically, and it's this camp that basically ever since the 1880s has been haunted. We know there's something going on. We see this really great opening flashback that I absolutely loved. It's like in 1885 or something. There's this man playing a piano, there's candles everywhere, and it's only him. There are these chairs, but there's no one there, and you have to wonder what happened to everyone else. They've seemed to just disappear. You have no idea where they went, and basically, that's basically what sets up the show. You know that something had to have happened to the rest of the people in the camp, and it seems that there was some sort of drowning or something have happened, some sort of massive ritual, as the executive producers say. So I don't really know what's going on there, but basically, we're now in 1989, where we have the character of Deb Carpenter. She's trying to reopen this camp, basically, to help out everyone, basically to reopen it, and the kids that used to be kids there at Camp Store are now counselors, and it's basically them trying to figure out what's going on, trying to just enjoy, adjust to camp life, and basically making sure they can open the camp. That's basically what this first episode was about, is them making sure they could open the camp, trying to get to know each other, and I very much like that. I thought that was definitely really well done. I thought there was some really great stuff in this episode. We'll get more into things that happened in this first episode. Let's get to the cast first, because that's actually something I really enjoyed about this first episode. Now, it's a large cast. It's mainly unknowns, and I didn't know a lot of the people in the show, but I did realize there were a few people that I did know. Let's get to the immediate standout. Elizabeth Mitchell, I think, is the person that is the most well-known in the show, and she's great. I really liked her character of Deb, how she wants to turn things around in this camp. You can tell there's a lot going on with her, though, because clearly she was around when this camp was haunted and what happened with this camp, basically, because there clearly was something that happened in the 1880s, and it didn't just go away. You have to figure that there was a reason why the camp obviously closed, and I'm assuming that she was a big part of that. So why it closed, we don't really know. That's going to be really interesting to see. I think that there's a lot more going on with her than we think. She seems like the nice, camp, or, runner of the camp and director of the camp and everything, but I think there's a lot more going on with her than we think, and I can't wait to see what else going on. There's a lot of mystery surrounding her character, and she did a very good job. I really liked her performance here. She didn't do a ton in this episode, but that's also the point. She's a very mysterious character, and you don't really know what's going on. I think she did a very good job, and I really did enjoy her portrayal overall. She really was fantastic. Who really surprised me the most, though, was Elizabeth Lail as Amy. I actually love this character. I thought she was going to be a plain Jane kind of character, where she's just a normal blonde and everything's great in her life, but there's a lot more going on. This is one of those shows where every character has their own kind of hidden past, and it seems like every episode we're going to explore their past before they went to summer camp, and I think it's kind of a cool idea of, who they were, what secrets they're holding, things like that maybe will unlock more of what's going on, but she is our main character. Amy is, in fact, our main character, even though Elizabeth Mitchell is billed first. Amy is our main character, and a really good main character. First of all, she's played by the girl that played Anna in Once Upon a Time. Not the one from Frozen, but one from Once Upon a Time when they did the Frozen storyline. So she was really good there. I'm glad she's here, and I thought she was really good in this first episode. She's the only one in this camp besides one other kid, Drew, who basically is new to the camp. She hasn't been there before. The other kids, they've had experience. They've been kids. Now they're counselors, and she's new to the group, and there's a lot of things going on. You can tell she doesn't fit in, and we get some really good reveals to her. I really like the story that was told here. Basically, there was this girl that she befriended in her science class, Margot, and her and Margot, they became really close friends. They got really close and everything. But Margot, there was something going on with this girl. You could definitely tell that something was going on with Margot and what was going on there. This girl, basically, they had plans to go to Camp Stillwater together, and for whatever reason, her mother kind of forbidded Amy from visiting their house. Margot was going to be arrested or something. I guess she was stealing or something like that. But basically, Margot ended up falling off the roof to her death, and that's haunted Amy ever since. Her and Margot were supposed to come to camp together, and Margot fell off the roof. Even though Amy tried to save her, she fell, and basically Margot did in fact kill herself. They planned to go together, but obviously it was ruined, and it's really sad to see, and you can really see that, and I think she did a really good job with portraying that guilt. You can really see the guilt is really looming over her for what happened to Margot and her losing Margot and everything. She feels it's her fault by what's happening, and she's also seeing these constant visions of things, and she seems to be the only one that's kind of paranoid right now, and I think it's because her secrets are coming out. This definitely seems to be a camp of secrets, and for her, there's all these things she's seeing. She's seeing dead bodies in this episode. She knows there's something weird going on. Everyone else thinks it's just paranoia, but she definitely, something is going on there. It's going to be really interesting to see what's going on there, and I really think she did a great job. I really liked her character. At first, I didn't really know why we're seeing these flashbacks. I'm like, do we really need to be seeing these flashbacks? But then, when we found out what was really going on, I got really into her story, because I really do like the story that's being told here, if she's going to be able to overcome Margot's death, because that's something that she does miss. That void in her life is gone. She wanted to come to camp with Margot, and she came all by herself, and it's not something that she, was expecting to do. She was expecting to come with her, now she's all by herself. She has to adjust to camp life without her, and that's something I'm definitely looking forward to. I can't wait to see the way that goes, and I like the way they set that up in this episode. I think they set that up really nicely. They really did take their time with her story, and I think they did a really good job with that. So she definitely really impressed me. I really did like her character. And everyone else in the show, we found out a bit more things about them, but not nearly as much to do with Amy, because I think each episode we're going to find out more and more about each character. Some of the characters here really didn't do much for me, though. Like, the characters like Drew, played by Zelda Williams, who is a transgender. I liked his character overall. I think he did a good job, he actually is a transgender, basically. It seems that he's stealing things. I don't really know, but he was a good character. But characters like Blair, I feel like this is played by the guy who was actually on Ugly Betty. Remember the gay guy in Ugly Betty, but he was also on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, the one that did the floss song, Mark, Indelicato. I think he was good in this show, but he seems like he's just there to be the gay character, and he's just there to be that stereotype. He didn't really do much for me in this episode. I thought he was good, he just didn't really do much, and I hope he does more. Who I really did like was Alberto Frezza as Deputy Sykes. It seems like him and Amy are getting very close. I like this character. He is a townie that basically, is surrounded by a college town. People kind of make fun of him for it, kind of has a reputation for it, and he's trying to withhold that. He's trying to get rid of that reputation, definitely trying to subdue it a little bit, trying to show that he's definitely not just a plain old townie. There's a lot more going on with him, and I am looking forward to finding out more about his character. You can tell that Amy really likes him, but also this girl Jessie likes him as well. There's definitely something going on with her. They definitely have some sort of past. You don't know what's going on there, but you also find out that there was this girl, Braces. He didn't know her name. He didn't know who she really was, but basically we find out that something is we find out that Jessie is in fact the girl that Sykes used to be with. It seems like these two are gonna bond, and even though Amy likes him, this was the girl that he used to date. This is the girl that he used to be with for 1 year, and I don't know if they're gonna have something that's going to continue, but I really did get into his storyline. I thought he did a very good job, and I liked the chemistry he has with Amy, but also this storyline going on with him and Jessie is very compelling, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on there. And then Eli Gorey as Joel. This kid is shady as shit. I mean, this kid is constantly filming everything. We don't know why, and throughout the episode, we still don't know why. He keeps seeming like he's going to reveal it, and he never gets a chance to reveal it. Why is he filming everything? What's going on there? We don't really know. I feel like he's there to find answers. I feel like he's there because he knows there's something going on, and he's filming everything to get answers. I feel like that's his real purpose, which, if that's what's going on, that's really interesting, and I really do feel that's what this is all about, that he's just trying to figure out what's going on there, why all this is happening, and that's something I'm definitely looking forward to. what's happening, why he is, why he is acting this, why he's acting this way, why is he filming everything. He's really shady. He won't answer anything, and that's something I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's going on with his character, because I think he overall is really interesting. But then other characters like Crickets and Alex, we didn't really find out much about in this episode. And then Zachary Gordon's character, Blotter, really had nothing to do here. He was introduced and then he was gone, and I don't really know why he was here, but he really didn't have much to do. But that's really the cast. That's how I feel about the cast overall. I think they did a good job. And as a whole, I think they all actually worked really well together. That's something I definitely really did enjoy. They definitely have that chemistry. You definitely see it, and that's something that I'm really enjoying. Now, the tone for the show I do think was a bit unbalanced in this first episode. It definitely is a serious show, but at times it's trying to be fun, and it worked sometimes with the fun stuff, but a lot of the fun stuff feels like they're just trying to drag out the show. A lot of this episode did feel a bit draggy at times, when there wasn't a lot going on. It wasn't as interesting, definitely, especially when we cut back to characters that we know absolutely nothing about. It just wasn't as interesting. What was going on with Amy, that was the storyline I was most into, because when we weren't with Amy, I just wasn't as interested, but that's because I think that was the point. Amy's the character we were found out stuff about in this episode. We'll find out more of the other characters as we go on, and that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing. I hope that we find out more about the other characters. I'm sure we will, but I heard it's going to be one of those kind of shows. I thought the tone here was good, though. When it's scary, it's honestly kind of creepy. I definitely did get a bit creeped out by the show. I think they did a good job with that. I really enjoyed the directing there. The writing, I thought, was really on point in this first episode, actually. It was actually really interesting. There is a lot of characters speaking exposition. I'll definitely say that. I think there was a lot more tell than there should be show. I've said it before, show not tell. I think they did a good job with that with Amy, but the other characters, I feel like we might have found out a bit too much about Sykes. I kind of want my own episode around Sykes, and if each episode is going to be us finding out more about each character, why did we find out so much about Sykes in this episode when we were mainly supposed to be focusing on Amy? I get that it's the first episode, but it just felt like that was kind of out of place. I don't really feel like we needed that. So that didn't really work for me as well as it wanted to. My biggest concern with the show, though, actually is the time period. Why is the show in the 80s? I don't know. Honestly, you could have said the show modern times wouldn't be that different. Yeah, there wouldn't be as many references, but this show does not feel like an 80s show. I mean, yes, they have 80s music, and yes, they reference 80s horror films, but other than that, it doesn't feel like an 80s show. It feels like it didn't really need to be in the 80s. I feel like they had a good idea with that. They just didn't utilize it very well. The characters don't look like they're from the 80s. I mean, their clothing, yes, but their hairstyle, not really. Amy especially looks like any girl from now, and I just feel like they really could have done more with those characters. They didn't really try to make them look that much like the 80s. And I get that maybe that was the point, that it's supposed to be 1989, so maybe it's supposed to show, oh, that was kind of dying out, the looks and things like that. But again, for someone who did grow up in 1989, I didn't grow up in 1989. For people that did grow up in 1989, they'll probably be kind of pissed off with what's going on in this show and why, what's, with not with what's going on, but the way that the 80s look. I already heard people be a bit pissed off by that, but I'm definitely. But I can get behind the fact that the show, is in the 80s and doesn't really feel like it's set in the 80s. I feel like maybe that'll go away once the show goes on, especially with these characters. I'm hoping we explore more about them. I'm definitely interested in them, and a lot more interested than I thought I was, and that's something I definitely really did enjoy. The score here is totally 80s, though. The score sounds like an 80s horror film, and the music they played was all 80s. So that respect definitely does feel like the 80s. It's just the costumes just didn't feel like the 80s. And that's just a small nitpick. I'm just saying, if you guys are looking for an 80s show, not really feeling like the 80s right now. It feels like it's set now and there's 80s music, and I feel like they could have done that. I feel like you just could have said it now. I know there would have been a lot more things to do, but just it feels like it didn't really need to be set in the 80s. I think it was a cool idea. It just didn't really do much in this first episode. Maybe they'll do more as the show goes on. Also, Patience, really cool name, because they do play the Patience song at the end by Guns N' Roses, which I kind of think they had to do, but I think that's kind of cool that they did that. The editing here I thought was fine. Definitely a bit choppy at points, like I said. When we cut back to other characters, just wasn't as into it. Something else that surprised me is that I was genuinely scared a couple times in this show. I think the beginning, like I said, that sequence was really good. The ending sequence was really good. And then I also talked about this janitor. This creepy janitor, you can tell something's off about him. The kids are just joking around because that's just how they were that's how he was and everything. But you can tell that there's definitely something going on. He ends up basically being hanged. You don't know what happened, but that's really interesting. And the show genuinely is creepy, so that's definitely something I really did enjoy about the show and really did appreciate. And then the other thing I'm looking forward to is how is the dynamic of the show really going to change? Because this first episode was before the kids arrive. So how is the show going to be once the kids do arrive? That's something I'm definitely looking forward to, is to seeing how these counselors are going to be able to hide what's going on, because they didn't know if they'd be able to open up the camp, and then they're, able to open up the camp. But Amy knows there's something going on. I think Joel knows there's something going on as well. So how are they going to be able to, figure out what's going on, try to hide the kids from it? Because I don't think it's going to be as easy as they think. I think they think it's going to be easy to do, but it's not going to be, and definitely they're not at all ready for what they have to face and what they're going to have to do for these kids. But overall, guys, I really did enjoy this show. I thought Dead of Summer overall was really entertaining. I definitely really enjoyed it, and a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Also, the ending of this episode I thought was fantastic. The way they showed Joel's home footage, and then up nose to them, there's, this demon or whatever staring back at them that he's filmed. To me, I think he knows what's going on. He knows something that's going on. He's trying to find answers. He's clearly obsessed with Deb because he's constantly looking at her, and we don't really know what's going on there, so that's going to be really interesting. Who are these people that Amy is seeing? What happened in the 1880s? We don't really know. That's also very fascinating, is how do we get there? What's the mystery surrounding that? Introducing Drew. A lot of people are saying, oh, Drew's the first transgender character. He's not the first transgender character. Does anyone remember the character on the Fosters? That was the first transgender character. And yes, it's the first main transgender character the show has done, but it's not the first transgender character the show has had. Cole from the Fosters is the first official transgender character. This is the first main transgender character, but there is a lot they can do with Drew. I'm looking forward to seeing his past, things like that. That's going to be really interesting. And as far as the other characters go, I do hope that we find a lot more about these other characters, that they do become a lot more interesting. Not that they're not interesting now, I just want to find a lot more about them as the show goes on. I think there's a lot they can do with them. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that all goes down. But overall, guys, I enjoyed the show a lot more than I thought it was going to. I'm definitely going to stick with it. I was worried that it really wasn't going to be that great, mainly because just a summer show, and just it seemed like a show that just wasn't really going to be that great. It was going to be kind of like Scream Queens. Not that Scream Queens was bad. It started out bad, but then got really good. This show started off pretty good. I really did enjoy it. I don't think it's a perfect show, but definitely for the summer, it's kind of like Brain Dead, where it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and I really am enjoying it. But let me know what you guys saw this first episode. Love to hear your thoughts on it. I really did enjoy this first episode. What characters do you like? What are you looking forward to seeing them explore in the show? Love to hear your thoughts on that. And we'll see you guys in my next one, which will be for tonight's episode of Animal Kingdom, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.